All right, welcome back to the deep dive. You guys sent us some really interesting stuff this time. So, air-fried peanuts, resilience, and a verse from Romans.
Wow.
This is going to be interesting. We've got this blog post about somebody making air-fried peanuts for their church, and a verse from Romans, chapter 5, verses 3 through 4. Let's jump right in.
Sounds like a pretty wild mix. But, sometimes the most unexpected combinations can be really insightful.
Right, exactly. So this blog post is all about the author's adventure making. Get this. Multi-flavored air-fried peanuts.
Multi-flavored?
Yeah, they really went all out. You can just feel the enthusiasm coming off the page. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. At first, they tried cooking the peanuts with, barely any oil, but they just wouldn't get crispy. They even described the peanuts as being neither cold nor hot, which got them thinking about that passage from Revelations.
Revelations 3.15:16, the lukewarm warning. Yeah, that's about a lack of commitment, not fully embracing something. Maybe that's how the author was feeling about their peanuts. Yeah. Or maybe even about something bigger.
Totally. And just like they weren't satisfied with lukewarm peanuts. They weren't satisfied with that state in their own life. It was like they had to figure out how to get things crispy.
Interesting.
And that's where the air fryer comes in.
I was going to say.
The author even jokes about using technology to teach these naughty little guys a lesson. Like it was a personal challenge, a culinary battle or something.
Or a battle of wills. I'd love to hear how that all played out.
Oh, they go into so much detail, adjusting the temperature, constantly checking on them, even using chopsticks to make sure the peanuts are cooking evenly.
Wow. Yeah. Really? That's some serious dedication.
Yeah.
Makes me think about how much we're willing to invest in something. How far we'll go to get what we want.
And you know what's funny? The author even calls out what they call the sacrifice peanuts at the bottom of the air fryer, the ones that got, a little too crispy.
Yeah.
They even compared it to sacrifices made in battle.
Wow. That's deep. It's like even in success, there are costs. Makes you wonder if we always see the sacrifices behind our achievements.
Definitely. And this is where the blog post takes a turn. It's not just about cooking anymore. The author starts reflecting on whether we always need things instantly, and if maybe there's more to life than just getting to the finish line ASAP. They even talk about how their impatience costs them opportunities and relationships.
I think we've all been there. We live in a world that values speed over everything else. But sometimes we lose something important along the way.
It's like we're all racing to some finish line, but we don't know where we're going, or if we'll even like it when we get there.
Totally. And that's where the author's idea of the art of slowness is so relevant, especially now after the pandemic where things feel even more sped up. Did they ever explain what they mean by slowness?
Well, they don't define it exactly, but judging from the peanut story, it seems like it's about appreciating the process, each step, even the hard parts. And here's the kicker. They say sometimes slow is the winner's password.
That's interesting. Makes you rethink what it really means to win, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And you know what really brings us all home? That verse from Romans you sent.
Yeah. Do you want to share it with us?
Sure. Romans 5.33. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope.
Powerful stuff. What do you think? How does that connect to the peanuts and the author's experience?
Well, it seems like the author went through their own little suffering with those peanuts. Setbacks, adapting, even losing some along the way. But through that struggle, they gained something more than just a snack. They found perseverance and a deeper understanding of patience.
And like the verse says, perseverance leads to character and eventually to hope.
Right. The verse and the peanut story both show how challenges can change us for the better. It's not about avoiding the hard stuff. It's about learning from it and growing.
Makes you think. Where do you see this idea of strength through challenges playing out in your life?
Maybe it's in your job or a relationship, or maybe it's a personal goal you're working towards. We all hit those points where we want to quit. But it's often in those moments that we discover how resilient we really are. It's funny. We started talking about peanuts and a Bible verse, and now we're having this deep conversation about resilience and how fast life moves. Makes me wonder, what would it look like to actually live this art of slowness? Is it just like slowing down? Or is there something more to it?
That's a good question. I think the first step is awareness. Noticing when we're rushing, when we're just on autopilot, and then choosing to stop, breathe, be in the moment.
So it's not about like doing less or anything. It's more about changing how we think, how we approach life.
Exactly. Imagine bringing that awareness to your work, your relationships, even your hobbies. What changes? What do you notice?
I bet you'd start seeing things you missed before, making connections you wouldn't have made, maybe even enjoy the process more instead of just focusing on the end result.
Right. It's about finding joy in the journey, not just the destination. Kind of like those air-fried peanuts. The author took the time to get them just right. And in doing that, they learned something deeper about patience and resilience.
And I think that's where the connection to the Romans verse gets even stronger. It's not about avoiding hardship. It's about seeing it as a chance to grow, to build character. Those sacrificed peanuts at the bottom of the air fryer, they're like a reminder that even in success, there are losses. It's about accepting that and focusing on what we gain from the experience.
And sometimes those gains are way more valuable than whatever goal we had in the first place. Think about a time you went through something really challenging. Looking back, what did you learn? How did it change you?
It's crazy how often those tough times are the ones that teach us the most. They make us dig deep, adapt, find new strength.
And that strength, that resilience, that's what keeps us going. That's what helps us face new challenges with hope and confidence.
It's like that slow is the winner's password idea. It's like a whole new way of thinking about winning. Maybe it's not about being the fastest or the most efficient. Maybe it's about being adaptable, persistent, not giving up easily.
And maybe it's also about being present, appreciating the small wins along the way, finding meaning and purpose in the journey itself.
That's a powerful way to look at it. It takes the focus off of achievements and puts it back on internal growth and happiness.
And you know what's interesting? When we shift our focus like that, when we embrace the process and find joy in the journey, those achievements often just follow naturally.
It's like we attract success by becoming the best version of ourselves instead of chasing it with, like, desperation.
Exactly. And this slowness thing, it's not just some abstract idea. We can actually apply it to our lives. What do you think? How could slowing down and being more deliberate help you in your work?
That's a good one. I think I'd be more mindful of my time and energy. Instead of trying to do everything at once, I'd focus on the things that really matter, really giving them my full attention. It would mean saying no to distractions and things that don't align with my goals.
And you might actually get more done in the long run. You're not just busy, you're effective. You're making space for deeper thinking, creativity, those aha moments, the kind that come when we slow down.
Like giving our minds space to breathe and make connections instead of constantly rushing.
Right, exactly. Now, what about your relationships? How could slowness change how you connect with people?
I think it would mean being more present, putting my phone away, really listening, trying to see things from their perspective, creating a space where everyone feels seen and heard without the pressure of time or distraction.
And that feeling of deep connection, of being truly understood. That's so important for strong relationships. It's the foundation of trust, empathy, lasting bonds.
It makes me think about the author talking about losing relationships because they were rushing. I bet if they could go back, they'd approach things differently.
And maybe those relationships would have turned out differently. It's a reminder that sometimes slowing down and being present is the best thing we can do for ourselves and for the people we care about.
So true. So what about personal growth? Is it about setting smaller goals, taking more breaks? How does slowness fit in?
I think it's about approaching personal growth with curiosity and exploration, not pressure and judgment. Being patient with ourselves, allowing ourselves to make mistakes, learning from them without getting discouraged.
Like giving ourselves permission to be human, accepting that growth is messy, trusting that we're right where we need to be.
Exactly. That self-acceptance, that willingness to be vulnerable and embrace the messiness, that's where real change happens.
This has been so interesting. Who knew air-fried peanuts could lead to such a deep conversation? Slowing down, finding strength in challenges, redefining what it means to win?
It just shows that wisdom can be found anywhere. And sometimes the most important lessons come from embracing the journey, not just the destination.
It's amazing, right? We started with somebody trying to make the perfect air-fried peanut, and now we're talking about patience, resilience, finding strength in unexpected places.
It really shows how something simple can lead to big insights if we're paying attention.
For sure. I think that's one of the biggest things we can take away from all this. There's wisdom everywhere if we just slow down and look for it.
It's true. Wisdom isn't just in books or lectures. It's in a blog post about peanuts, a verse from Romans, or even just a quiet moment thinking.
So for everyone listening, what's one thing in your life where you could try this art of slowness? What would happen if you approached it with more patience, more intention?
Maybe it's a project you've been putting off, or a relationship that needs some attention, or even just taking some time for yourself to recharge and reconnect with yourself.
I think that's a perfect place to end things, with a challenge for all of us to explore this idea of slowness and see where it takes us.
Remember, sometimes the most rewarding journeys are the ones we take at our own pace, enjoying each step along the way.
This has been such a great deep dive. I hope it gave you some new things to think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world around you.